My dear friend in Christ, let's talk about a case of demonic possession in the light of the Gospel of Mark chapter 5 verse 1 to 20. Before that, let us remember two very important things. First, that the demonic possessions are real, but they do not always look like the ones we see in movies or we read in novels. Satan is very deceptive. St. Paul in his second letter to the Corinthians chapter 11 verse 14 cautions us that Satan can even pretend to be like an angel of light. The verse reads, "And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light." And the second thing to note is that every miracle that Jesus did has a deeper meaning for our spiritual life that goes far beyond the particular incident. In other words, a physical healing always sent across a spiritual message or a teaching. So, look far beyond the incident alone. Now in the Gospel of Mark chapter 5 verse 1 to 20, we have a man who came out from the place of tombs possessed with an unclean spirit. His condition was so miserable, so pathetic and so violent that no one could ever bind him anymore, even with a chain. He was often bound with fetters and chains, but he would break free even from those chains. It was really a very, very scary sight. But he was always crying out and bruising and hurting himself with stones. This poor man had lost control of his mind and of his body. But when Jesus was approaching, he saw Jesus from afar. He ran and worshipped him, and crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." The message for us is that at the very name or the very sight of Jesus, demons will shake and shudder in fear. Now Jesus, with all divine power and authority, said to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." Jesus was filled with great love to deliver him from his possession. So he has a conversation with the man. "What is your name?" Jesus asks him. And he replies, "My name is Legion, for we are many." The possessed man begged Jesus not to send those demons out of the country. Now this should be understood as a spiritual warfare that we all go through, the war between good and evil in us. My dear friend in Christ, this is a very powerful, very, very daring encounter between Jesus and those demons that possessed the man. Now a great herd of swine was feeding there on the hillside, and they begged him, speaking through that man, "Send us to the swine, let us enter them." So Jesus drove those demons upon the swine, and the swine herd, numbering around 2,000, rushed down the steep bank into the sea, and they were drowned in the sea. There are points to note. The demons recognized Jesus as the Son of God. The possessed man's demons named themselves Legion, that is equal to the power of around 5,000 men or soldiers. What happened next is very important for us to think about. The frightened people of the city asked Jesus to leave the city. Here we have a man who was tormented mentally and physically by that demonic possession, struggling in pain, in misery, and now completely delivered and made whole again. And these people asked Jesus to leave the city. Why did they ask him to leave instead of thanking him or asking him to stay back? Why? What do we learn for ourselves from this incident? It is because the people considered their swine more precious than the liberation given to that possessed man. They were selfish. Swine was a source of food for the people of that region. It was a source of financial benefits and profits in the breeding and selling of swine. Think about this, my dear friend in Christ. There are times in our life too when we become so selfish, so greedy, and so materialistic in our outlook that we fail to appreciate the value of divine blessings. We push God and spiritual things in the back seat, and then finally out of our lives itself. How many times we may have given those worldly pleasures and those attractions a preference over spiritual things. Each one of us will have to figure out for ourselves if we want to grow spiritually. We need to come out of our tombs of ungodly pleasures that we are trapped in by the cunning and evil plans of the evil one. So, my dear friend in Christ, seek God. He is waiting to deliver you from every kind of evil, from every bondage, from every possession. Let God possess you instead with His mercy, with His love, and with His forgiveness. May you have a good and godly day.